We are looking at a very cheap 32-inch. I mean, for heaven's sake, just look at the back. One HDMI, one SCART socket, one aerial. The other hole you can see is a USB, and there's the 19-volt input. That's right. This TV hasn't got its own dedicated onboard power supply. It needs one of these LG 19-volt. It's only about 5-inch, but 19-volt DC power bricks, as we call them. This TV, every expense has been completely and utterly spared. And this was gifted to me today, so I'm not going to show it too much love, but let's have a look at it. A customer brought me two TVs. One is a Hitachi 43. We'll have a look at that tomorrow sometime. This is an LG 32. There is a reason, some of you may know, some of you may not, why this TV is really cheap. But let's have a look at it first, because the customer said the picture is dark. He's had two of these. He threw the other one away. He was just about to throw this away. And the reason the picture is dark, as no doubt you can see, it's got the usual LG problem where the backlights inside have gone blue. So why he threw the other TV away, I don't know if that had the same problem. They are repairable, but is it worth repairing? Well, for the sake of the channel, we're going to give it a go. These TVs were given away free for subscribers of Sky TV about 9 years ago. They were advertising a free LG HD TV when HD was still new. Anyway, let's take the back off the TV. Now, for this free TV, to put a new set of backlights in, it would cost 27 quid. I can't see the point in spending 27 quid on a TV that was free. I don't know if these did go on retail sale. I've got a feeling they didn't. I think they were only designated to be a Sky TV to be as cheap as possible. As you can see, there's just one circuit board inside, not even a T-Con. The T-Con is built into the main board, and part of it is built onto the screen. So it's a one-board setup here. One day we'll have a one-chip setup, and that'll be it. But at the moment, it's just the main board that's looking after this TV because of the external power supply I showed you earlier. Anyway, a few screws out, and now it's time to have a go at taking the screen away. So the front bezel has to come off. There's just a dozen or so screws around the edge, so that's pretty easy. Watch this. It bows. It bends. Spoiler alert, it doesn't break. Looks like it almost does. But LG have put some tape on the cough tabs at the side. Bearing in mind the cough tabs are two of the most delicate instruments in a TV screen. You don't want to go picking around there and playing with it, but I have to take two bits of tape off, as you see, and then the screen will lift up and we can put that just in front of me. Then we have a look at the diffuser bezels, take them off, and we can see the backlights here. There are two strips of 5, that's all, just 10 LEDs in here. Now this TV is 9 years old. The newer Vestel ones only have, I think they only have 12 in. So the fact that this has got 10 in from 9 years ago means they really were skimping. I've put the reflector sheet back in only to signify where I'm going to be sticking the LEDs. I've got some individual LEDs which I always have as spare, just for an emergency, just for something to use for myself. I never put these in customers' TVs. I always, if I can, put the originals in customers' TVs for obvious reasons. But for me, these will be fine. They are not the correct ones. But as I say, I'm only repairing this TV for the channel. The TV is worth £0 and 0 pence. It's not really worth the time doing this. I've spent an hour and a half on it. But as I say, I'm just repairing this for the channel, and it may come in handy one day, or I might actually give it the gentleman back, if I'm being honest, because he was moaning that every TV these days is a smart TV, and he doesn't want a smart TV. This is plonked in his bedroom. I'm using concave backlights because they're the only ones that I've got. They're not correct for this. They shoot the light beam up, which you don't want, because you can see a slight reflection on the picture of the backlights behind, which you may notice later when I repair this. It's always best to use the flat type on these, but the concave ones will stop it from being blue on this occasion. So, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start putting them in and wiring them up. I'm just finding out which is positive and which is negative. so I can wire them up correctly. The positive is on the left-hand side and the negative or the ground is on the right-hand side. So I'm going to put this bottom set in a different way round to the top set. Some of you will probably work out while I'm doing that, but it only needs 10 backlights. These are 1 watt, 3 volt concave backlights. You need the flat 1 watt, 3 volt flatter ones for a better picture, but the picture quality is going to be okay for what it is. Hey, it's a TV that's worth absolutely nothing. But anyway, let's just start putting some backlights in here and see how we get on. Right, all the backlights in, they're all in place. I've lined them up the best that I can. Again, you will notice that the top set of backlights are in the correct way, in other words, positive on the left, negative on the right, but the ones on the bottom are the opposite way around. This is so I don't stretch a cable from one end of the TV panel to the other end. It always looks a bit messy, but I'll show you why I've done that in just a second. What I need to do is start tinning some wires and linking all these lights together. They're all going to be wired in series, so all I do is just get a little bit of white cable. Some people say you should never use a bright coloured cable because you can see it. Well, I've got a reel of bright orange cable, and I've never seen it, but on this particular occasion, I'm just using some standard white flex. There's very little current going through these, very little current. So even this cable, which is more than capable of doing the job I need it to do, but this cable is, overpowering for what the current rating is. We are talking milliamps here that goes through these, especially when we're only looking at 10 LEDs. Anyway, let's just wire all these up. I've got halfway through, so I'm just going to test that the top row. So the top row is going to be positive left, negative right, 3 volts each, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. It's coming up at 13.3, which is fine, because the LED tester never pulls out the full whack. And as you can see, I've got them all wired in now, and the shortest wire is on the right-hand side. I'll point that out to you in a second. I did that, of course, so I didn't have to stretch the cable from right to left, because A, it would have been a waste of wire, even though it's only probably going to be about 15 or 16 inches, or probably 20 inches. But anyway, they're all lighting up now, and as you can see, I've used short cable because the backlights on the top are different to the backlights on the bottom. The bottom ones are turned upside down, so I don't have to stretch out the wire. Don't know why I keep having to explain that, but you'll be surprised in the comments that confuses people. The other thing you need to know, of course, it's just a one feed, wired in series, so you just need to find out from the main board, and the main board has a DC to DC converter, which just pumps out the voltage for the backlights. You just have to work out which one is positive, which one is negative. It's quite easy. Before you take out the old backlights, just check which is positive and negative, and then you know which wire is which. You can see it on the strip. So I've got the positive on the top, gonna solder the negative one here on the bottom, and with a bit of luck, they'll light up and they'll all look good. The other thing about the double-sided sticky tape that I use to put the LEDs in, you will notice it's good to just fix the wires to them in between the individual LEDs. It just keeps them nice, neat and tidy and stops them flapping around. Not that they would flap around, really. So that's them all done. All I've got to do now is grab the TV and the power supply, make a little bit of room, lift it up and plug it in, and hopefully all of them are going to light up without any problems. So as you can see, the 19 volts goes in there. I've also got to attach the infrared sensor, because I think I left the TV in standby mode. So plugging it in will mean, as I'm just figuring out, that it's not coming on. But it's not coming on because it's not wired up correctly. It's not coming on because I haven't got the infrared sensor connected, and I need to take it out of standby. So let me just unplug again. Safety first, even with 19 volts. So I'm just going to plug this back in so I can press the button to switch the TV on. It's a fiddly job doing this, holding the TV at the same time. It's a multitask situation. Men can't multitask. But it's on now, so with a bit of luck I can press the button and the backlights are going to come on. I'm just going to put the power back into the power brick. Then turn on the little switch here. I've got a red light, and hey presto, almost immediately all the backlights are working. And they are fine. But I do stress, if you're going to do this repair to any 32-inch TV, I've put the concave ones in. You're best using the flat 3-volt type, because the LED light surrounds the screen much better. You get a much better, much wider, brighter picture using the other LEDs. But these will be fine. So just plugging everything back together, it really is just reassembling, the opposite to taking everything out, but I'll just speed this up and just making sure that everything goes back in as neatly and tidily as it can. There are clips for the T-Con board at the bottom and the screen board. Just make sure that they all go in correctly. Tiny little speakers. So tiny, I can't believe that, they're almost like laptop speakers. But, this is the TV where every expense had been spared. If these ever did go on sale, I'd love to know how much LG thought they were worth. Because obviously Sky customers got them completely free of charge if you signed up to the Sky HD package back in 2014, which is when this TV was made. But as you can see, the logo comes on. The blue has disappeared. It's a much better, much clearer picture. If you go staring at the picture for long, you will probably notice the backlights in the background, but only very faintly. And it's only people that love to find fault in things that will notice it. It's actually quite a good picture, and I'm quite impressed with it. But these TVs always suffer, or did suffer, with screen problems as well. But we've been lucky on this one. Taking the tape off those tabs didn't cause a problem. New lights in, seems to be fine.